Hey everyone, it's Joe. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing a journal with me in my Midori Traveler's Notebook in the regular size. And I am still using this vertical weekly insert that I have repurposed as my daily journal insert. So just ignore the numbers and all the dotted lines that you see because I'm just going to treat this like a regular old insert. So today we are doing something a little bit different. I thought about doing some sort of March in review or a March so far spread, just because I haven't been as consistent in my daily journal. I've been trying to do some other things. I've been trying to illustrate more on my iPad. So this daily journal hasn't been used as much as of late, just because I've been trying to explore different creative avenues. So we are going to do a little March in review spread. And coincidentally, I actually was working on this little gouache art piece that I'll probably post soon on this channel. But I had some leftover gouache paints that I had already mixed, so I thought I would just use the same colors that I had already and use it for like the title of this spread. So I just did some cool lettering. It's in this, I don't even know what font this is. This is kind of like a little bit of a vintagey font, and then I added this yellow leaf, you know, my usual signature watercolor leaves. And I think I kind of feel more a little bit confident with the gouache paints, just because they kind of feel like, or the way I mixed it kind of feels like how I would mix watercolors. It's kind of like that watery consistency, and I love how opaque it is when it dries. But while that is drying, I'm just going to cut out some photos that I want to introduce into this spread. And I made a mistake of making these photos a little too big, so I will just continue this kind of March in review onto another spread, but I'll probably do that on another day. But while I'm cutting this, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who left such kind comments in my last video. In my last video, I just talked about feeling kind of stuck and a little bit off in terms of work and in my personal life, and I feel a lot better. I've just been continuing to read stuff, and all of your comments were just so nice and positive. I feel actually great from in terms of like my day-to-day life. I feel like perfectly fine. It's just I feel like at work I just don't challenge myself enough, or I avoid a lot of like difficult conversations and whatnot, and that's why I've been like reading a lot about self-help and kind of like trying to express myself in a way that is appropriate at work, and at the same time being true to myself and trying to be more courageous. So that's what I was trying to get at in my last video. So I apologize if I was being so vague in that video, but I'm so thankful for everyone's kind comments, and thank you for sharing recommendations and how you are also feeling that way too. It takes a lot of courage to share that stuff on the internet, so I am very thankful for you guys for sharing that too. It makes me feel less alone, and it's good to know that I'm not the only one who feels that way about these things too. So thank you so much for that. In terms of like an update, I am actually on spring break. So spring break officially started this Friday. By the time you're watching this, it's actually Sunday the 15th, probably March 15th. And yeah, there's a little bit of a interesting situation here in Vancouver. If you didn't know, Vancouver or Canada, we don't have that many cases of confirmed cases of COVID-19, but there are still, you know, precautions that need to be taken. So there's actually like not a travel ban, but there's been like a self-isolation not request. I guess it's kind of like a request. So if you're out of town for out of Canada actually, you need to self-isolate for 14 days. I think it's pretty much protocol around the world right now, but I don't know. I feel like it's ramping up here in Vancouver, and there's been a lot of precautions made, and there's limits to gatherings over 250 people. So there's been a lot of like changes in the community and in Vancouver as of late, and that's been interesting and kind of scary at the same time. I know this is supposed to be a good preventative measure for the spread of the virus, but it's just really unsettling, and I feel like I'm falling into like that paranoia, panic, but I'm trying to stay educated, and I've been reading a lot about it and watching a lot about it. I watched this podcast actually. It's a video podcast with the director of infectious disease, I think. I don't remember his exact title, but he's a very reputable person in that field. So I'll link that below, as well as some other World Health Organization links, just because we all need to stay educated in this very interesting time, because there's a lot of fear mongering and fake news and incorrect facts, and honestly we just need to like stay educated and know the different protocols that we need to make. So just wash your hands, folks. But that's been one thing that I've been kind of grappling with and kind of thinking about as of late. And honestly, this kind of just ramped up on the last day of school, just because we had to cancel like an assembly, and it was just really wild. So I'm feeling hopeful, which is something that we all need to kind of feel during these times, so we don't fall into like despair and fear, and just like trust the community and make sure that the people in your community are informed too. That's one thing that I've been kind of up to. While I was rambling about the coronavirus, I actually used more paint, and I wanted to frame this little photo of the coffee station that I have at school. It's kind of ridiculous. It's so extra, but we have a drip coffee station, a hand drip coffee station at school, and I love it. I make a coffee every day, and it's such a good quality coffee too. Me and my coworker and my friend, we kind of spearheaded that. So it's nice to have that coffee station. And I put this little succulent that I took a picture of it because it bloomed. I didn't know that succulents could bloom. I actually have tons of plants, as you all know, and this is my first time that I got a succulent to bloom for me. And the bloom stalk is quite long, and the flowers aren't that amazing, but it's just so cool that I got it to bloom. So yeah, that's you can tell that the things that I'm extremely excited about in March are very mundane, but it is the small things in life that bring me so much joy, like blooming succulents and this awesome coffee station that I have at school. In terms of this like additional collage elements on the spread, I added this wood grain paper that I've had for a very long time. I used it in my December daily journal, and this is just a scrap of it. And I thought I would bring in like this warm tone wood paper to match the wood in the photo of the coffee station. And since everything is kind of a warm tone color in this spread, I thought I would just continue with that theme. So there's a lot of warm tones, there's like oranges and yellows, which I always gravitate to anyways. I actually kind of need to push myself out of this color scheme, because I am obsessed with like burnt oranges and like the mango yellow color. So yeah, I added some flourishes with my pencil crayons, and I actually journaled using my pencil crayons this time instead of using a fountain pen or like a standard ballpoint or gel pen. And I like it because it adds a splash of color. And then I just added more pencil crayon flourishes, and that's pretty much the completed spread. Just to let you know that I actually used a Posca paint pen and the new White Pit Artist pen from Winsor, is it Winsor & Newton? To add the white elements on this spread. And those are the two kind of paint pens that I've been liking. And as you can see, you kind of are seeing how I style these photos. I didn't know I was still rolling. And I even took a bite out of this fudge covered Oreo to make this spread look a little bit more fancy and whatnot. But I hope you enjoyed this spread. I wanted to talk about what I've been reading and the shows that I've been watching, but as you can see, I rambled for too long, so we'll save that for the next journal with me. But since I am on spring break, and since there are limits to social gatherings in this time, I will be posting more, I guess, because I have more time and more yeah, I have more time to film and do some creative stuff. So you will be seeing more of me on YouTube as of late. But this is the completed spread. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you stay safe. Make sure to wash your hands and don't touch your face, which is literally the hardest thing to do. The moment that someone tells you to stop touching your face, you have the insatiable urge to touch your face. So that's one thing I'm still working on, and I hope you all stay happy, healthy, and safe. Take care, everyone. Bye.